Hello everyone, welcome to today's study video. Today we're drawing cats on this Strathmore newsprint paper, just pretty cheap paper. I like to do my studies on this. I have my Lyra, I have my Blackwing, I have a Knead eraser, and a Tombow Mono Zero eraser. These are some of my favorite tools to use doing practice sessions. And I have an iPad, and I have queued up a little cat skeleton that we'll be referring to, as well as some general cat muscles, a tab of kitties. We'll be bopping around and just doing quick studies of a lot of these guys, seeing what we can see, seeing what we can notice, seeing how fast and clear we can make our drawings. I also have this book, just as a lion. So the skeletons and musculature are quite different, but there is overlap in some areas, and I do like referring to these illustrations sometimes, so I have this nearby as well. Pretty cool illustrations here. Okay, so that's the setup. I'm gonna start with this Lyra. And I like this one because it's very large and it goes really smooth on the paper, and it helps me think big. Okay, let's start with this guy. Oh, or this guy. Oh dear. There we go. Okay. So let's take a second just to look at him. Devon Rex have very kind of triangular alien-looking heads and tend to have large ears. So that's a characteristic of that specific breed that I want to look at. They tend to not have a ton of hair on their necks, which is very funny. It does help the bones of their scapula, like their shoulder blades, kind of stand out. So I'm getting kind of a nice shape here. And then mirrored on the other side. So this is kind of like a box structure, if you can see that. Now, cat bones, this is true for lions as well as small cats, they have a curved bone here in the front. See if I can show you without messing everything up. Yeah, so this bone right here, the radius and the ulna are curved, and that's a fun detail to put into your cat legs. So that's something I'll be looking out for. I want to think of sort of three distinct shapes here with the body. We have the box shape here in the front. We have the spine, which, as we know, cats can arch their backs quite a bit, so pretty mobile spine here. A round shape, and then that comes into the pelvis area here. And I'm imagining the pelvis being somewhere around here, and then this is the knee joint. And then the knee joint comes down here to the ankle joint. We've got the little toes here tucked under the tail. So I will keep talking about this as we go along, but I just wanted to point out a couple things that I'm thinking of whenever I'm looking at these references. Another important point is the cat skull here. Let me find a cat skull. Yeah, so these are very prominent on Devon Rex as well. These are, and this openness is kind of a cat thing. The bone does not connect there. Here's a side view. So I want to make sure that I get that structure in too. That's going to help a lot with the face. With cats, things kind of get derpy quickly if you don't get it right. So that's something that could happen. That's okay. It's all right. If we have a derpy cat, it's not the end of the world. All right, let's come up here. Top left corner. And I'm not going to draw super big. I'm going to try to keep these small so I can get a lot of them on the page. And I'm going to start with this box. Oh, too big. I'm going to start with this box that is sort of created by the scapula. Just start feeling my way into that. So that's the far scapula there. And I like starting this way with the connecting shapes because I find that often my end result just looks a little more connected and cohesive. And I would like to get to the point where I don't need this step, but a lot of times my drawings, if I don't do this part, they can look somewhat disconnected. Okay, so there's the spine. I'm thinking 3 distinct parts here. Pelvis and legs. And then here's the scapula and the spine. Scapula chest area, I guess. And I'm going to take my time with this area and just make sure, give myself time rather to look at the connections, sort of absorb what I'm looking at, kind of explore. This is the neck coming down into the chest, right between the shoulder blades. It's going to go into the elbow here. And just a little curve there. And I can make adjustments to these as I go along, but it's helpful to get the main idea in place. We're at a small 3/4 angle, not a true 3/4, but I can see this little foot sticking out more on the back side. And this little tail curled around, so cute. And last but not least, let's get up in here into the head. With Devon's, I like to start with a circle and then quickly sort of turn it into a triangle, which might work for most cats as well. This is getting that occipital, is that what it's called? No, orbital cavity, orbital bone structure there. So you can kind of see the diamond shape that we're getting. And again, I'm just kind of reevaluating those connections. This is the best time to make subtle little changes. Very large ears. This one actually hangs off a little bit from the skull from this angle. And I'm thinking about that bone shape too with this circle. And this one. Kind of the nose there. And our first little eyeball. Something like that. And I've gone over the drawing a lot, so our lines have gotten a bit dark, but they erase pretty easily, so that's going to be my next step. I'm just going to clean it up a little bit so I can get to the next part, which is really trying to be bold and get some strong lines in there. I like this two-part study because I get a lot of practice doing this swoopy, connecty phase, which is very useful. I use this all the time for establishing flow and quick drawings and stuff. But after that, I enjoy kind of going in with really bold, more singular lines and seeing what I can do with it. Okay, looking kitty-like. Gonna knock it back just a little. We can still see everything, just getting it knocked back into the paper here. All right, Blackwing. I like to draw again from the side, which gives me a fatter stroke. So like this, or like this, as opposed to this. So it's gonna kind of give me three options to choose from here. And drawing from the side like this kind of reminds me to stay loose as well. It also gives my hand a break because I do draw like this a lot. So switching up the grip kind of reminds me to keep it soft and not struggle too hard, which is what I want for this sort of practice session anyway. Just keep it simple, big ideas. Center line. Okay, this part's a bit tricky. I'm gonna get the skull coming down. The angle there. And I think I definitely made this a little more compact than it is, but it doesn't look terrible, so we're gonna roll with it. hair swoops up. And some Devons have this, what's called a point. They have these little hairs that stick up in the top of their ears, and it's so cute. Okay, that's good enough. I could fuss with it, but I'm moving on. Got lots of kitties to draw today. The lines I have underneath are very curvy, and I definitely want to keep some of that, but I want to mix more straights in there for the appeal of just like a really angular line amidst a bunch of curvy ones. And that's something I don't always remember to do, so I'm just saying it out loud. So there's the back turning into the lower back slash hip pelvis area. And I'm remembering that box structure here. Coming into the elbow. Roundness of the belly behind there. Let's get the chest going. This curve is so subtle. I think I really enjoy it, and I overthink it. I'm in that phase of overthinking it right now, but it's very fun. There we go. There's like a tendon that is sometimes prominent here. And a simpler paw, since it's behind this one, I'm going to add more detail into the one that is in front. Sometimes it can be helpful to introduce like a shape like that, just to help show the attitude or like the angle of the foot. Cute little elbow there. Wonderful. Round belly. Similar to lions, let's look real quick. Cats have, like humans, a latissimus dorsi, which looks like this. And that often makes a nice shape coming off of the back and into the elbow here. So that's one that I like to remember. You can see it a little bit on this guy. That rhythm coming off of the pelvis. I'm just going to make it subtle like this. I think this is a big part of what I'm learning is, of course, the anatomy, and then when, like discretion of when to use it to help define an area or when to let it go for simplicity. And that's a very deep topic for me. That's something you could spend probably your whole life on. At least I'm expecting to. Okay, our foot here is overlapped by this tail. And again, I'm forgetting, I want to add straights wherever I can, so I'm going to add a straight there to kind of indicate the floor almost. And there's like a roundness to the tail, of course. Some flyaway little furs. I do want to show just here and there that he is fuzzy. Very important cat feature, unless you're a Sphinx. Little foot poking out there, little foot poking out there. No need to dial those in too hard. Let me get this tail overlap. Let's kind of spin out and do some fur there as well. Okay, and then I just want to tighten things up, maybe darken some of the most important lines. Like this is important. Kind of this rhythm going into the elbow there is important. I'm gonna knock this back a little. It looks a little weird because the cutoff point for the leg is like a tangent with the front leg, which I don't love. So I probably should have separated that more so that was clearer. But that's all right. Just see what we can do with this. I would brush my paper a lot. I think it's just something I don't even realize I'm doing when I'm drawing. Just a little bit of ear definition, not too much. It's not a point we want to like draw the eye with too much detail. Just a tiny little chin. And I'm thinking of that cat skull we were looking at. Yeah, something like that. This is bigger than I intended to draw, so we'll do our next one a little bit smaller, but got a good start here. Okay. And when I'm doing practice, I pretty much just kind of float around and go by whatever will fit well on the paper next to what I just drew. So let's look around a bit. This guy's pretty cute. Oh my gosh, this guy's very cute. That's a tricky angle there, so let's go ahead and jump into it. Oh, come back. There we go. See what we can do. All right, notice. Let's notice some stuff here. Okay, this is going to be a big deal. I think seeing the spine curve around and go from a profile into a 3/4 front view of the back. So I'm imagining the spine, kind of that center line coming down and turning into the tail. This tail is going to be tricky to get the depth of it there. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do that, but that's important. I'm kind of noting that. I'm trying to imagine the spine here. Let's see. Hopefully we won't lose this if I go look at my cat skelly. See if I can find anything from that angle. we go. So very narrow pelvis, just like a little rectangle. And I'm just making mental note of the bones here. It's can be very tricky to get the articulation of these in certain angles. Lots and lots of practice. Back to our kitty. All right, so I'm seeing kind of the rectangle we were just looking at here. This leg is pushed up. So probably connecting here and then going down into the foot and then here. Similar on this side, we don't have to worry as much about that one, but it's tucked up in there as well. I could exaggerate the spine a little bit to get that 1, 2, 3 separation of the shapes. And then I like how this shape kind of dives into the shape of the rib cage and the square of the shoulders there. For the skull, I'm definitely noticing a circle shape here for the skull. And Devons have a little smushed face, so there'll be some very subtle work in there. This ear is kind of coming toward us. This leg is tucked in. All right, let's draw it. Back to our big graphite piece. I'm gonna start with that box. The shoulder blades and chest. Kind of feel that. And then put in the spine from there and how it kind of just dives into that. And this is a really fun, now that I've been using this technique for a while, this is a really fun place to be for me. Just getting these lines to connect and build relationships with the shapes. And I'm in no hurry. I do want to do these more or less quickly, but I don't mind staying a little longer to get a connection feeling solid. There's kind of that center line, and I'm imagining, go ahead and draw it, kind of a rectangle for the pelvis there. Let's go ahead and get an idea for the tail, how it's going to be swooping up. So we have this really nice curve here, and it kind of ends here in the chest. Let's connect it to the head. And I'll add my straight lines later. This is the swoop zone right now. So unless something is absolutely square, I'm not too worried about it right now. I'm going to bring this out a little bit more. Bring our center line out a little. remembering that leg kind of connecting to the pelvis here, tucked up against the belly. Coming down into the ankle. Just keep working those connections. And I think the leg can be a little longer. And then this leg is tucked up against the belly too. Got a nice C curve here. We're seeing the crunch side, and the other side would be the stretch side. Remember that cute little curve of the bones there. Okay, I'm just drawing a quick line here too. I'm going to bring this leg down even more. Keep this leg up for the perspective. Oh, interesting. I can't see that other leg at all. So this is one of those moments where I can decide if I want to follow the reference here, or if I can add a leg to provide clarity, because this is a photo. We have plenty of information to help us realize that this is a real creature. This is, doing something that really happened. In a drawing, you don't necessarily have that, so and especially like a simplified drawing, and sometimes it can be a good choice to add more information for clarity. So and it's good practice too. So what would that look like? We could add the leg. Well, let me get this leg in, since that's the other part of the puzzle piece that we know. So I could either just do like a subtle, put the leg over here. That's one option. Or I could sort of stretch it and make it look like he's like creeping forward or something. But I think that would kind of mess with the angle that I'm trying to sell. So to help, I'm interested in like trying to understand this area and make this clear. So in the interest of that, I'm not going to do anything crazy with the leg. I'm just going to kind of put it in there to help show what angle we're looking at. And I'm noticing that I may have pushed the face out too far. Yeah, I'm actually going to do this over again, because in the reference, this line kind of keeps going up this way. It doesn't fold back in as much as I had it. And I'm drawing bigger than I had wanted again, but that's how it goes with this guy. Okay, let's start with that circle again. Ear. Thinking about that skull shape. Thinking about the triangle shape that Devons often have, or I always have. I think that's kind of their thing. And what I'm trying to do is, it's important to kind of get the twist. So there's lots of folds happening coming over this way. Just like a placement for the eye, placement for the nose, just to get those ideas bubbling. And then the tail. So this is a tricky one. I have not entirely full confidence that I'll be able to pull this off in a pleasing way, but it's good practice. And I'm all about that. All right, let's knock it back. All right, I'm going to not worry about the head for just a second. Okay. And I'll get the tail in before I do that. Okay. Thinking about that pelvis there, and then this is the scrunch of the knee pushing into the belly. And the back leg here. Come back up to the front. I think this leg is probably just a bit on the stubby side. Just noting that. And our made up leg here in the back, come back to that. It's going to go up here to the face. Little kitty nose. Add that center line there for clarity. Waffling on what detail I want to add here. Let's get just a subtle indication of an ear on that side. And this one. Go. Okay. Thinking about that skull again while I'm adding just some sort of subtle suggestions of bone structure under there. And I think, I don't know how much I like how I did this area, but I think with this area, it actually worked out pretty well showing that looking back action. So I feel good about that. Take note of the things that we could improve on. Here, let's see if we can do anything with this, just to give it a little bit more clarity. Maybe knocking that into shadow, knocking that into shadow. Sometimes a far away view helps it make a little bit more sense. Okay, I see an area. So I wanted this to be the hip, but it looks like the tail. So I'm gonna try and fix that real quick, and then we're gonna move on. Okay, I do like his little face. All right. Man, time flies. Let's do one more. Let's do a standing pose. I guess both of these are crouched, so let's do this guy. Okay. So 3/4 view here. Head looking up. I'm imagining the box shape here for the rib cage shoulder blades. And that 1, 2, 3 of the chest, belly, pelvis. Nice curved bones there, very nice. Let me just see if I can do a couple fast ones. And I'll use this pencil, I guess, and just use it in the way that I use the bigger one there, just to get some really small sketches in. And this is, I do this all the time too. This is not like it's out of the ordinary. It's just fun to use that big chunk of graphite. Diamond shaped head, massive ears. Exaggerated the stretch of the head just a little bit. Exaggeration is always a good idea. Again, it's one of those things that takes a lot of practice and a lot of errors. We're running to our other drawing, that's totally fine. Okay, pelvis, knees all the way down here, going back to the ankle. And I need to make these legs a lot longer. I think I was doing with that one, it's just this one. So that we're on sort of a plane like this. Want that spine to dive into the chest here for a good connection. Latissimus dorsi, Dorothy, latissimus Dorothy. And just simple face. Quick drawing. Make the face a little larger. I think these legs, I'm going to push back a bit. Okay, pick it up just a bit. And come in with some nice bold decisions. That nose is up there. I'll go ahead and get that in. Just a little bit for the eye. Let me just zoom in here so y'all can see. Chin, triangle head, ear. I have a flat top, so we'll just make that a straight line. I'm thinking about those three parts there. Rib cage, scapula, a little messy there. Clean it up a bit. This one will be simpler since it's the farthest away from us. Little tail. Center line. And just a bit of a space between these legs for clarity. So chest is here. Elbow, we can just barely see it back there. Just a few hints there and there for fun, mostly, and for added clarity, hopefully. Yeah, it's a cutie. What I like about this is it's not super finished. It's pretty messy. It's just like main ideas. What I love about this is you can get so much mileage drawing quickly like this. Like in the space that it would take me one nice drawing, I can do like 10 quick drawings, and that's a lot more cats that I'm looking at. That's a lot more tricky bone angles that I'm looking at. That's a lot more puzzling that I'm figuring out. And I find that that helps my skill level improve overall. So I really like doing these quick drawings. And then it's like, if I wanted to take this to the next level, say I really liked this one, or I thought it had a really good shape, this part or that part, I can always scan it in. I can always put a piece of thin paper over top of it, draw it again. I can do whatever I want with it. So cheap paper, lots of drawings, I think is a good strat. Okay. Well, I thought we would get to more cats, but I was drawing a little bit large. So it's been about an hour, close to an hour. So we're going to let this go for today. But I'll be back soon with some other exciting topic. I'm working on some cat-related things right now. So this has been part of practice that I've been doing, and some questions I've been having about cat skellies and cat poses and cat attitudes. So this was super fun to share. I hope you all enjoyed it. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.